And so maybe start putting out a little bit. God, these things go under tough sometimes. You got to get them just right. Just like that.
Wow.
All right. So, first gear. What clutch comes on? Remember
Forward.
Okay, so this is our forward clutch, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so our forward clutch comes on to latch onto here.
Yes.
Okay, we're holding onto the carrier, and we're rotating that forward clutch, which is or that ring gear, which is our held unit at this point, which is driving the carrier underneath, which turns the sun gear into the driven mechanism. Okay, because we're holding onto the carrier underneath here, now we can revert that counterclockwise back to clockwise, and we can move down the road in the first gear ratio. Okay, we're from 2.5 to 3 to 1 on one of these 350s. Okay? Mm-hmm. Yes? Yes?
Yes. Got
Okay.
it.
Second gear, we're going to let loose of the carrier, and we're going to flip-flop, but we're holding what's driving. So now we're going to hold the ring gear.
Okay.
Carrier's still being driven because it's underneath. And that's always what the carrier's going to be doing in this thing. It's going to be driven all the time. Okay. So now we're going to apply the intermediate clutch, which is installed on top of our direct clutch drum. And we're going to be able to hold the sun gear through this direct clutch drum by applying that intermediate holding clutch.
Okay.
Is that following you? Everybody following that? So by doing that, now we're got the input going on the ring gear, we're holding the sun gear, and there's our second gear ratio. Okay? So now for third gear, we're going to apply the direct clutch. And remember, applying the direct clutch, we change the power flow into this gear set from the engine. By doing that, we cause this one-way clutch to start overrunning again. Okay, and that's why they installed this on a one-way clutch, because they wanted to make this a progressive transmission. Otherwise, they had to shut the intermediate clutch off and apply the direct clutch, and it would have been a bumpier shift, because that's what you get when you take clutches off and put clutches on. The shifts aren't as smooth. Okay? So for third gear, we're going to apply the direct clutch and the forward clutch is applied. So now we're putting power one way into the ring gear, which causes that carrier to move and causes that sun gear to move backwards again, just like it did before, which in turn forces those sun gear teeth into the carrier in one end and the ring gear teeth into the other side on the other end, and causes this whole thing to rotate 1 to 1.
Because it locks up.
And locks up.
Okay.
And our input starts and stops right here. And the other two gear ratios, our input starts up here and finishes up down here at our rear ring gear. And we can do that because this is splined to the output shaft, and so is that upper carrier.
Say that last part again.
So we can flow power in first and second. We have a power flow that starts at the top gear set or the input gear set and finishes down underneath at the reaction gear set.
Right.
We can do that because this ring gear is splined to the output shaft and this carrier. So two members of that compound gear set are splined to the output shaft. So that gives us a lot of versatility. I noticed, and I don't know what the book says about why we use compound gear sets. I noticed in the homework, I was grading some homework up there. And I noticed a lot of you were putting down, it provides for more gear ratios. Well, it does do that, but it also provides for way more versatility for flowing the power through the gear set than if you just had one gear set. You could get 6 gear ratios, well, or 4 gear ratios out of one of these things. 2 good underdrives in a 1-to-1, but the way you'd have to set the clutches up to do it, it's easier if you've got a compound gear set. So that's ease of power flow and more gear ratios are available. Okay, so I like to use the 700 for example because it's basically got the same gear set. It looks a little bit different. That single planetary gear set I've got sitting in the classroom, that's out of a 700. Okay, but it's basically the same gear set. And all they did to add 4th gear to that transmission is add a 4th clutch. They added a 3/4 clutch to it.
Okay.
They still kept everything else. They added a band to give 2nd gear instead of the intermediate clutch. So they changed a few things. But if you're to tear a 700 apart, when you get down to the low roller support that sits right here on top, all the way down to the bottom of the case, I defy you to tell the difference between that and a 700 and a 350. They're the same. What they changed is up top. That big drum I've got sitting in the classroom, that's the big silver drum, that's an input drum out of a 700. There's 3 clutch packs in there. There's
3.
the forward clutch, the 3/4 clutch piston, there's an overrunning clutch piston in there. And everything's applied through that input drum. It still has a little reverse clutch down underneath there. And it also has, instead of a direct clutch driving the sun gear, it has what's called a reverse input clutch, doing the same thing. Setting down here into the drive tanks, and it comes on for reverse. We lock onto the carrier, that reverse input clutch comes on, and we get reverse out of that 700. So they're not doing it with the direct clutch, because they don't have a direct clutch in the 700. They have a 3/4 clutch. So just different clutch packages and stuff like that for the 4 speeds. Now you start adding 5 speeds and 6 speeds. Now we're starting to add gear sets, different types of gear sets and stuff.